Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, I appreciate this possibility to make a short overview of the Russian national system of the research-based education. It's quite a difficult task after this in-depth analysis which we have got from the previous speaker, but I will try within my task to give a brief overview of the way this is implemented in Russia, where I'm coming from. So historically, Russian education was based on research, and in spite of the experience which was in the summary about the bottom-up approach, we have several centuries been based on the opposite approach. So historical background of the Russian research-based education lies in the past centuries, when the research activities were within the core curriculum for the students. But since the time being, and mostly last 10 years of the last century, the research base of the higher education institutions came to degradation and suffered from the lack of fundings, and that's why the downslope was evident. But at the moment, the development of the research-based education in our country is in a positive slope and positive vector, and this is mostly due to the governmental support, which is evident, and the influence of the government in the research activities for the academic society are even within the institutional frameworks. So first of all, this is due to the establishment and development of the national research institutions. This is the innovation of the Russian academic society. This is an academic institution which is also involved in the research activities with the special fundings from the state. The idea of the research institutions is to bring in line research activities and academic activities, and to enhance involvement of the students and teaching staff in research activities, and also to bridge the gap in a way between 3 cycles of education and research activities. To distinguish the difference between research on different levels of education, on different stages of education, academic society has faced a lot of challenges, because it's not quite clear how to involve the students, how to motivate students to the research activities on the bachelor level, as well as on master level, and at the same time PhD students and we call this postgraduate students or postgraduate studies, they are isolated in research. This is also a challenge for the Russian system. So in the traditions of the Russian education, the theoretical slope and fundamental research were always in a kind of battle, because the majority of the curriculum were mostly developed to the theoretical part. At the same time, the fundamental research and fundamental aspects of the education, of the Russian education, traditionally were in the background. Lack of practical placement, and also some institutional difficulties which research laboratories faced in late 90s of the last century brought the society into the position where necessity of redevelopment of the research and education connection became evident. And that's the reason for the introduction of the national research institutions. As I have realized from the presentation about the Scottish experience, the involvement of students and both involvement of teachers in the research-based education is a among the national priorities for the country, for the whole academic society. The same situation is for the Russian experience. This is also a strategic goal for the Ministry of Education and for the academic society to ensure that education is developed in line with the research activities. Briefly about this case study of introduction of the national research universities. So they were first introduced in 2008 by the decree of the president. There were only 2 of them at that time. At the moment, we have 29 research institutions, national research institutions. They are spread all over the country. Some of them are focused on some specific areas, like, for example, medical research institutions. But most of them are complex research institutions, so they have different research schools within one institution. The main specific character of this new type of universities is that students are able to participate in research activities from the first year of education, and they pass through the whole ladder of research team. First, they start as a on the first step as a member of the research team, and by the end of their education they have a motivation and possibility to show up themselves as a competent researcher by the, for example, PhD level, and to become a head of the research team. So at the moment of the entrance to the university, they have a clear perspective of their possibilities in the possibilities to participate in research activities. So this is briefly the way this research-based education is implemented in our country at the moment, and the main output of this innovation is that nowadays we have this research-based education in a way fixed by the government. So we are entitled to implement this. And this is, of course, a huge support for the academic society to implement this because of the fundings, because of the involvement of the teaching staff, and of course because of the institutional support. So this was briefly what I was going to describe about the Russian national system, and thank you for your attention.